I think I wouldn't be immediately reading too much or placing too much emphasis on the element of Tehran. I think we should look at it in terms of the wider Israeli strategy here, and we knew that this was coming. In terms of the Israeli promise to search and attack Hamas leaders wherever they are around the world. So this could very well have been in Qatar. It could have very well been in Turkey or any other place for that matter. We had perhaps one major high-profile assassination in Hamas since October the 7th outside Palestine, which was the martyrdom of Saleh al-Aruri, the deputy chief of Hamas. And obviously, the big prize for the Israelis at every point would have been Ismail Haniyeh. So perhaps the more curious question would be, was this part of the Netanyahu plan, visiting the United States of America, getting some major accolades in terms of the adulation that he received in the United States of America? Thereafter, straight after this, going for a major Hamas leader and then making this part of Netanyahu's endgame. Although I would say this is in no way going to lead to any endgame, it's only going to inflame tensions on so many fronts.
On that point, would he have taken his ally, the US, into his confidence that this was the plan, or not, considering his current relationship with the Biden administration?
That's an interesting question. I would think, whether the United States was fully on board or not in this particular case, the United States, it's really a moot question because the United States has been part of this genocide from day one. So whether they agree on each part of the strategy or whether they have given Netanyahu some autonomy to operate in a particular way, the United States, by throwing its lot into the genocide from day one, now has to reap whatever consequences are going to come to this, whether this was discussed, by them or not.
What is the end game here for Netanyahu? We know he needs to stay in office to stay out of jail. We know that at the beginning, they themselves, the Israeli government, had said that obliteration of Hamas was the objective. This hasn't happened 10 months in. By targeting a leader like, the leader Ismail Haniyeh, does this in some way give them that ultimate win, as some have dubbed it?
So, in terms of what was said to be the Netanyahu endgame, part of that was, is absolutely unpopular even amongst Israelis for the variety of reasons. So he went to the United States of America to kind of project an image that he could be, even if you don't see my value as an Israeli premier, the United States sees my value, and I can still turn tables, so to speak, in the United States of America. So he did that with Republican and Democratic support to be able to show up his strength locally, and that had the effect. You saw Israeli polls saying that from all the politicians out there, Netanyahu is not trusted, but he is still seen as the favorite amongst Israelis. Another milestone had passed yesterday, which was the Knesset going into recess. So, despite the war conditions, it's the annual recess for the Knesset, which means that Netanyahu has survived till that point, which means that nobody can take him out of power through Knesset processes until this point in time. And the next suggestion prior to this assassination was that we are going to Netanyahu at a certain point, when he feels politically strong enough on the back of these developments, is going to call for a general election in the Israeli state to show up his political position. So on the back of this, by assassinating a Hamas leader, he might feel, strong enough to make some major call in Gaza. But I see the totally opposite effect. Whether this is going to ignite the other fronts, Beirut, going to bring Lebanon further into it, going to bring the Iranians further into it, and this definitely is not going to sit well with ordinary Hamas members in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. And I'm going to concentrate on the West Bank because we've seen a very silent or a dormant West Bank until this point in time, relatively speaking, and this could inflame the West Bank and Al Quds in a way that all the developments until this point have not.